Party people, what's going on? It's Samaj Marsh. Of course, I'm the founder of BlueDeathValley.com. And I want to welcome you guys to a special, first time ever edition of the Bill Hayes Celebration Week podcast. And we're going to have some fun this week. Last year, he was a guest on our show, and the idea kind of came to me mid show. I said, hey, why don't we just do this once a year? And I asked Coach when was his birthday. He said June 1st. I said, first week in June, we're going to designate that as Bill Hayes Celebration Week. And we're going to have a whole bunch of fun and special surprises and guests. So this is the first installment of that. We always try to stay true to our word. And so it's June 1st, and it's actually Coach Hayes' birthday. So let's bring him on to the show and get this thing started. No introductions needed. You know who he is, the living icon, Coach Bill Hayes. Coach Hayes.
Mark, how you doing, man? Everything's all right?
Yes, sir.
Hey,
yes,
Coach.
sir.
Hey, how's it going?
Man, we're talking to you today, so we on cloud nine. First of all, I just want to wish you a happy birthday. Notice your birthday today, and I hope you had a chance.
Yeah, I'm having fun. I'm taking it easy.
Taking it easy.
Yeah, I went to church one and had some guys over with me. Everything went really well. I'm happy.
Good deal, Coach. Well, we're gonna have a little fun here today. We got some of your former quarterbacks. They wanted to stop by and wish you a happy birthday personally, and they want to talk a little football. And these are not all the quarterbacks you coach, but these are some of the ones we could get our hands on, and they had time to step by for a few minutes. So let me start by actually the last guy you recruited. You remember this guy from Charlotte? I think it was East Meck, and he came your last year at A&T, 2002. Marshal Glenn. Let me bring him into the show.
Roommate.
Marshall,
fellas.
How you doing?
Outstanding. Happy birthday, Coach.
Hey, Marshall, how you doing, man?
Outstanding, sir. Always a
Can you
pleasure
hear
to
me?
have you. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Coach. And so let me give you a quick little rundown on Marshal Glenn. He led A&T to a MEAC title in 2003. That was the year after Coach Hayes left. But as a junior and a senior in 2004 and 5, he led A&T in passing. And actually, he set some records. In 2005 against South Carolina State, he had the most completions at that time in the game. Set a record with 26 completions, and he also threw for over 342 yards, which was like the third most. So he wasn't just a guy. He was a main player for A&T, and had a great career. And he was the last quarterback that Coach Hayes actually recruited. Prior to him, there was another quarterback we want to bring to the show, and this guy also has a MEAC title under his belt and a HBCU national title. Let me bring in Jason Battle. What's going on, Jason?
Good afternoon. Happy birthday, Coach.
Hey, how you doing, Jason?
Good.
Great to hear your voice, man.
Absolutely.
And so, of course, Jason, you and Marshal Glenn, y'all playing time kind of overlapped. Y'all played at the same period. And I'm sure you guys learned a lot from each other and from Coach Hayes. We're going to talk about all that tonight in this show. And before we do that, we got to bring in a couple more guys. Prior to Jason, a few years before him, there was another quarterback. And once again, everybody on this show has some hardware to show off. This guy right now, he's kind of he's on the golf course, looks like, because he might be showing off some his putter and some of his drivers. So let's bring in, before he gets busy, Mr. Maseo Bolin.
Good afternoon, and happy birthday to you, Coach.
Thank you, Mace. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
And so, Mace, you won a MEAC title in what year was that?
Well, I was there 91 and 92. We'll give Connell 91.
Okay. Definitely. And I mean, you had a bunch of awards, bunch of accomplishments. You helped win the MEAC title, like you said, in 1992. You were the second all-time leading passer when you finished your career at A&T with over 6,000 yards. I think you had a single season record of 2,262 yards in 1995, which was the record at the time. And of course, you made it to the A&T Hall of Fame, and you are the current president of the A&T Sports Hall of Fame. You guys doing big things every year of your golf tournament that we try to be a part of. So, Mace, thank you for coming to the Valley. We're going to honor Coach Hayes today and help us take a trip down memory lane. And last but not least, another guy who has some hardware to his credit. He was the MEAC Offensive Player of the Year in 90 and 91. He led A&T to the MEAC title that year. Wow, he had a wonderful playing career. After college, he went to the arena football, had a 12-year career in arena football. Even so good, he even had some opportunities to showcase his talent in Hollywood in some major movies. And then after his playing days was over, he was a big-time head coach at Winston-Salem State and Hampton and Alabama A&M most recently. So let's bring into the Valley for the first time ever, head coach Connell Maynor. Connell.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Good. Hey, Coach, happy birthday, man.
Hey, Connell, how you doing?
Good,
Yes,
man.
sir.
How you doing?
Happy birthday. I'm doing great.
And so, guys, we got everybody here. First of all, I notice it's hard to, it was hard to be to organize this, but I know it's hard for everybody to get their schedule on the same page. But this is a big event because Coach Hayes is a living legend. And I think a lot of us was able to see that in person this past year when his monument got unveiled over at Bowman Gray Stadium at Winston-Salem State, on the campus of Winston-Salem State University, and that great statue on the hill. And that was a wonderful event. And we, that was a great event, Mace. You helped do a lot of fundraising and organizing and putting that together. I know a lot of other guys contributed, but that statue lives over at Winston-Salem State, right? And so they kind of got a little bit of bragging rights about, how they honored Coach Hayes with that statue. So A&T, Blue Devil is an A&T thing. We want to do our own thing. So we have this, we're going to start having this celebration week, the first week of June. That's going to be the official start of football over here at A&T every year. And so we're going to come together every year and honor Coach Hayes and take a trip down memory lane. So real quick, Coach Maynor, let's start with you. Give me this idea of the impact he made in your playing career and professionally.
Man, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Coach Hayes got that will to win, and he just know how to pull the best out of you. He won't let you quit. And, we say, we'll take an average player, make him good, a good player, make him great, a great player, and put him in the league. And that's what Coach does. That's what I got it from Coach. He could pull the best out of you. You look at his teams. He was such a great recruiter. That's why all of us on here right now. He recruited all of us, and he's just been a difference maker for me, man. He's been like a father figure for me. He came to my school and recruited me, and he said I got a half a scholarship, and if you want it, it's yours. So I took that half a scholarship, and of course. By the next semester, I was on full scholarship. But, and then, of course, I got my first coaching job. Coach Hayes gave me my first coaching job. And to this day, Coach still is trying to help me, man, anytime he can, any way he can. And not only me, every day Coach wake up, I guarantee you he's trying to help somebody do something. He's trying to do something to help somebody else and not himself. And that's just the person he is, man. He's just unbelievable. One quick story I'll tell you, he was in championship game in 1987 at Winston-Salem, and I was starting quarterback as a freshman, and I hurt my sternum, and so I got ready to call the next play, and I sent Yancey Big Pen in motion, and I got ready. I said, oh snap, that's a sharp. I raised up, called timeout. I went to the sideline, went straight to Coach Hayes, and he was the OC, and he said, "What's wrong, Connell?" I said, "Coach, my chest, man." I said, every time I try to call the cadence, man, I can't do it. It's sharp pain. He looked me right in my eye and said, "Can you run quarterback draw?" I said, "Run quarterback draw? I can't wait to come out of the game." So fast forward to the second half, they kick off, we get the ball, and they say, Coach say, "Where Connell?" They say, "Coach, he on the bench. He ain't got no shoulder pads on. He done." "No, go get him. Go get him. Give me a football. Give me a football. Get over there, Yancey. Right there." He made Yancey's big pen stand 10 yards away. He gave me the football, said, "Hey, throw him the ball, Connell." I said, "Oh, I can't throw. Here, throw it to him." I threw the ball to Yancey. It bounced. The ball bounced to Yancey from 10 yards. He said, his exact words was, "I told you could throw. Now get in there." I would have got my shoulder pads. I played the second half, man. He won't let you quit, man. He won't let you quit.
Wow. And Jason, I'm pretty sure you had some similar stories too, because I say you had to play hurt. That was one thing about Coach Hayes. He wanted his quarterbacks to be tough, right? And we talked about that '99 season when you won the HBCU national title as a redshirt freshman. What was some of how did you prove to Coach Hayes in your eyes that you were ready to take on that undertaking?
Well, I think a lot of it goes back to going into camp that year. I missed spring ball playing baseball, which bothered Coach Hayes a lot. But I came into camp that year number 5, so I was 5th on the depth chart, and man, it really made me earn it. It really made me earn it. So I think just the confidence was built with just me being resilient throughout camp, because you the 5th guy on the depth chart, you might get one team rep for the first week, and just working through that, and just realizing that I wasn't gonna quit. I was gonna just keep going. So the first opportunity I got that season, things went well, and the team played well behind me. So there was no need to change.
Yes, sir. And Jason, Doug and Craig, you guys jump in with any questions you want. But I got a question. So Marshall, you have the designation of being the last guy that Coach Hayes recruited, the last quarterback that Coach Hayes recruited when he was at A&T. Just real quick, what was that like? When Coach Hayes, I guess he reached out to you and told you about A&T, and you knew the history and everything. What was going on in your mind when you met Coach Hayes for the first time?
When I met Coach Hayes, Coach Hayes, first of all, it was an honor and a pleasure. But one of the first things he told me is that we had a group of freshmen that were coming in, and me being a quarterback was going to be one of the guys to help move the program along, with that group. And, coming in on our visit, being able to meet with all the guys and just the camaraderie that was already on campus amongst the football team, it was a no-brainer. And then I had plenty of, cats from Charlotte and from the surrounding area that were already at A&T balling out for Coach Hayes. And, it was just, real easy for me to come in and be comfortable. That's what I wanted at home, like type feel from a coach that, had legendary experience and, of wins as well, and it was just a pleasure just to be at A&T and to be thought as a guy that could help continue on with the program.
Yes, sir. And of course, last but not least, Mace, you've you might have one of the strongest relationships with Coach of a lot of former players to this day. Like I say, you played an integral part of getting that monument project off the ground and into fruition. Real quick, Mace, just tell me a little bit, just as when you were here under center, what type of lessons did he give you that kind of resonate today?
There was a number of things. I think first and foremost, when you play for him and you're a quarterback, and every guy on this call will echo that, but there's the leadership piece. Quarterbacks have to be vocal. You have to be strong mentally. You have to be very strategic. You're essentially an extension of Coach Hayes on the field. And I think the time that we got to spend with him in meetings and practice, on the bus, on the way to trips, he was always talking and teaching and kind of helping you to understand like what we need to do in order to be successful, what it takes to get there. And not only was it just a discussion, but you could actually see him model it, right? And you saw that every single day. So then the things that he did with, being there early, we still talk about that to this day around be first, right? He was always there early. He always left late. He was extremely organized. As Connell said earlier, he had a way of getting the best out of his players. And I was fortunate enough, especially my junior and senior year, to sit in coaches' meetings, and he got after them pretty good too. And so what you saw was a general at the top, and how when you have a system in place, you get everybody on the same page. And so as a quarterback, that's what we had to do with all 11 guys in the huddle. And there's good and bad with that. There's guys that I know for me, I don't know how the other quarterbacks feel, but there's still some guys with some sour feelings towards me from when we played, because you held their asses accountable. And we were taught to do that by Coach Hayes. And to this day, I won't apologize for it. And it's good for me because it helps me in business. It helps me with what I do to take care of my family. And as you mentioned, the way Winston-Salem has done for him, it's been phenomenal what that city and that school has done to honor his legacy. And big ups to Winston-Salem State and that city.
So let me ask you guys this. All you guys play quarterback for Coach Hayes, and you know that he's a run first, smash mouth type of guy. Was that a hard adjustment? I know you guys are considered dual threats, right? But was that a hard adjustment come to A&T and not being able to be that gunslinger initially? What was that challenge like, Mace?
So he was a master magician, is the way that I answer that question, Samaj. So when I came to A&T on my visit and I went up to watch film, all I saw was Connell Maynor running Quins. They had cut and edited the tape. Quins was a shotgun set for us with 5 receivers. So they showed me the film and said, "This is our offense. This is what we do." And I watched a whole entire ball game of just Quins, 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 Quins. And so he called me in his office and asked me what I was going to do, and I told him I was coming, because that's what I thought. I was under the impression that they did the entire time. But what was really unique though was, I think through the years, like, we all wanted to throw the football. Every one of us on this line could throw the football pretty good. But you also learn the beauty of having a strong running game, play action passes, having balance. And so you want to be out there throwing it all the time, but you also appreciate it having those horses behind you that could get it done as well. So, but that was my story when I came in on the visit.
So Marshall, same with you, because I know you were prolific at the East Meck, right? And I mean, you were like one of the top senior quarterbacks in the state of North Carolina when we recruited you. Not saying that you were just, because you didn't have the wing tee like these other guys had. You were the first guy to have the spread. So what was that transition like, and how did Coach Hayes manage that?
Like you said, I was the first quarterback that came in and, kind of read the spread at A&T, which was something that I did in high school my junior and senior year. So honestly, in high school, that was the first time that I really threw the ball like that, because my freshman and sophomore years in high school, I ran the triple option. And so, just being introduced to the game of football, I started off playing running back. So I was natural, running the ball, and then, unfortunately, in Pop Warner, when it was time to throw the ball, I went in at quarterback. You know what I mean? And so, long story short, made the transition to quarterback. So I always knew how to run the ball with the option. And so my last 2 years in high school, running the spread more in high school, and I guess with the direction Coach Hayes was trying to adjust to, I was like a perfect fit, to come in. But you had your Jason Battles that was there previously, running that pro style offense, things of that nature. So I got to see what that looked like as well. In some moments as well. But Coach Ferg, as offensive coordinator, we did go pro that spread style. But I did have a few moments where Coach Hayes just let me play, and had just the Howard game when I set the freshman passing record. Was able to connect with my man Doug Brown here on a long pass. Just he was uncovered in the slot, and I snapped the ball and shotgun and threw it right to him. We kind of looked at each other, that head nod, and we had a big first down or whatnot. Got to move the chains. And, Coach Hayes, he always allowed me to just go out there and play, even though we were confined in that spread offense. He did allow me to just go out there and play, and that's what he told me to do. He told me I was going to play, and he told me to just go out there, relax, and play. So that's what I appreciated the most about Coach Hayes.
Hey, Samaj.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you what really happened with coaching the wing T and going to the spread. Before I got to Winston, Winston-Salem went to the championship game 4 straight years. And they lost 4 straight years because they was running the wing T, and everybody would just put 10, 11 people in the box because they can throw the ball. They threw the ball 6, 7, 8 times a game. So they would just pack the load of the box on him. And he lost in the championship game 4 straight years before I got there. So when I got there, I could throw the ball. So when we got to the championship, of course, we ran waggle and ran down pass, and we ran some couple drop back passes, and we was able to win the game. And so then when I got to A&T, kind of the same thing happened, with John Eder brought in Quins. And so we added Quins to the passing game with the waggles and things of that nature. And people kind of catching up to the wing T. So Coach, he's stubborn, but he want to win. So he wanted to run that ball. He want 3 yards pallet dust. But at the end of the day, he said, you know what? We got to throw the ball more. And that's kind of – and then Maseo was behind me, after me. And so that was just a natural change. They started running a little bit more spray, a little bit less wing T with Maseo at quarterback. And then, of course, after Maseo, then he started going almost all spread and just – still trying to hang on to that wing T much as he could, but he knew he had to get rid of it if he wanted to continue to win and grow. And that's just who he is, man. He's a champion, he's a winner, and that's kind of how he got all the way up to the spread with Glenn and got away from it because he was very successful. But in them championship games, man, when you can play them other good football teams, they packed that box. He couldn't get no points, man. It really was 3 yards in the pile of dust, and so he just gradually saw the light and saying, you know what, I got to start throwing the ball more. I got to get rid of this wing T. And that's kind of how it happened.
So, Marshall, you benefited from that, right? Because you were the first person, like they got to the promised land. You was able to enter the promised land as a quarterback. You was going 4 wide. I mean, like I said, Connell, were you jealous a little bit when you saw what the offense was so many years later? What it grew to?
Of course, I got to talk to the Lord a lot. I got a couple questions for the Lord. As soon as I left high school, they put in the 3-point line. You know what I'm saying? As soon as I leave, coach want to go to spread. Maseo talk junk to me all the time about his yards and my yards. I'm like, Maseo, you threw the ball 30 times more than me, bro. You got 800 attempts. I got 250. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on.
I think, Marshall and Jason will tell you, man, because Jason still had Gerber, and y'all ran like a version of the Quints, I think, or had 5 wide for a little while. But then Gerber and Hicks both left July of what would have been my freshman and Marshall's freshman year. So we got a new OC. That's when Ferg came back running offense. Ferg hadn't coached offense other than wherever he was in Texas prior to that season. So he brought that offense up here. And like Marshall said, there were no checks. You had to run what was the flood route, whatever the flat route, whatever it was, you had to be in place, which was tough because there were times we were like, yo, I'm uncovered. We're like, yo, throw me the ball. And at that point, you didn't go outside of what the offense was. So it was later in the season, we weren't having success as much offensively. And that Howard game was when Coach Hayes said, forget this mess. Give me running back, give me power. He didn't know the terminology of the offense. He wasn't that invested until he had to be. Yeah. But he was like, we're gonna run power. And we went to Howard, man, and just did whatever Coach Hayes said. Basically, we didn't have any calls. He was like, give me I formation, give me power. And we went up and down the field, and kind of got it going a little bit. But it looked a lot different than how we imagined it. But we figured it out, man. And we weren't able to have, I think we had 3 quarterbacks that year. It was Jason's senior year. And, that senior year quarterback is different, man. You done been through the ringer, man. And but God, we picked that up on the fly, man. That was a tough situation when you couldn't be yourself as much because those quarterbacks had skills that could shine outside of that structure, right? Like Jason Battle off schedule was a hybrid of Connell and he had that baseball flair to him. I mean, he fit the mode of like the athletic quarterback during that time, man. So it was tough to play within that schedule when he had that experience of being successful already and winning the championship as a freshman. So that was some growing pains that year, man, offensively. But we had a lot of talent.
Y'all know y'all know what Coach Ferg coached when I played?
Defense.
He was defense coordinator.
Yeah.
Coordinator. And Jason, I played baseball too at A&T. I played baseball 4 years at A&T. So you should have asked me, man. I could have told you how to trick coach.
I needed that.
I never played spring ball.
Yeah, I never did either.
Yeah,
I never did it. Hey, look, that's why I ain't had no scholarship money.
Oh
Year
man.
one.
Oh boy.
He
That's
took
tough.
my money
Hey.
after year one.
Hey, I treated him. He say he wanted me to come to A&T with him. I say, if you let me play baseball, I go. Because Winston didn't have a baseball team. So, of course, he said, okay, I'll let you play. So I was coming anyway, but I told him if he let me play baseball, I would come. So that's how I got to play baseball.
Yeah.
That's
You
tough.
must have set the stage for me, but you must have kept your money. He took mine immediately.
Hey, you know why Coach went to Howard and he started running power? He probably said, man, look at those little D linemen. Let's just bloody their nose and run it down their throat. And he probably ran power and counter and ISO at they butt the whole game, the rest of the game. That's how you do, man.
Hey, Coach Maynor, you'd have had to been there. That probably want the conversation. Them guys know that was a rough year, my friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did it. He did the same thing at FAMU.
Yeah.
We went to FAMU that year, and it was bad out there.
Yeah,
That was the story I was gonna tell. Like I came to the sideline, I was hot. Because like Marshall said, it was no checks in the offense.
at all.
So like when they sent a play in, like you look and you like, nah, that ain't there. And it's like they kept sending in the same stuff. And you're like, you can't run it.
Right.
And man, I went to the sideline and I'm going crazy. Coach Hayes like, man, what's wrong with you? Whatever. And I just got all these hand gestures. I'm man, I don't care what you're talking about. Just put your hands down. What you talking about, Coach? Put your Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, he got to do it a couple times that year.
Yeah. He be waiting for it. He be waiting for it.
Yeah, like they said though, and did like he's the head of the system, head of the team, but he didn't really know the terminology of the offense, none of that. He just looked out there and like, man, I don't care what you call it, just run power.
Right.
However you run power, run power.
Run downhill, God damn it.
Yeah.
So that was neat to see, man, because up until that point, Coach Hayes was at a phase in his career. He had got on his golf cart. He riding around from position group to position group. Now he coaching everybody up. He gonna stop over there and tell everybody what to do, and is doing a hell of a job at it. But to see him kind of take the reins offensively, for me, it was a moment because I'm like, now that Coach Hayes getting into his element. You know what I'm saying? He loved that, and then inside run and practice. Those were the times when you would see him light up, get excited, and pull a running back, throw a freshman running back in there like Frank Patterson and some of those guys, and he just had those ways of seeing what guys had, and so when the lights came on, he knew what buttons to press for the most part.
Hey,
So
Craig, we be at practice inside run, and somebody messed up, and coach say, blow the whistle, stop, line down. Now, when I say step, you step where you supposed to be. Step. Now that's who you got right there. God damn it. Now, run it. Hey, coach, you just told them what we're running. Now run it. Coach, they know exactly what we're doing. How we going to run it?
Hey, let me ask you guys this. When did you feel like Coach trusted you to run the offense? Like he wasn't micromanaging. He was like, I got my guy. He's going to make it work. At what point did you feel you achieved that with Coach Hayes?
Well, for me, I was first. So Coach was the offense coordinator when I played.
Right.
My whole career, he was the offense coordinator. Joe Gordette had the offense coordinator title, but Coach Hayes called the plays. Okay, so Coach would call the plays. He loved to run the ball 3 yards pile of dust. And but at my senior year, South Carolina State game, they had #1 defense. They was loaded. They had Robert Porcher, and they had a lot of good football players. And we had to go there, and we had to win because we lost Dell State at home on senior day. It was cold, and our guys didn't show up. So we had to go to South Carolina State and win that game. And they had a very, very good defense. So we knew we could run some stuff on them, but we didn't really know how they was going to line up. So we put formations out there, and Coach gave me two plays, possibly 3. He gave me 2 running plays, and I add a pass play. So we just lined up in the formation, and I called the play from the line of scrimmage the whole game in the on BET at South Carolina State for the championship. Him and Gordon was over there. All he did was send in the players in the formation. So they come to the huddle. They say 800, right? So I call 800, check with me. I go to the line, and depending on how they lined up, because we practiced on how they was going to line up against that formation, what plays we wanted to run, he let me call the plays in that game. So he, again, he was stubborn, but he wanted to win, and he was going to do whatever it took to win the football game. Nobody knows that to this day. This is my first time telling anybody this publicly, but yeah, I called all those plays in that game. So, but I had the plays that we practiced that he wanted me to call when we got a certain look. So,
okay, let's stop right there. Let's go through this play. You tell me what you called
about 12 or 13.
Crochet.
Maynor.
He gets out of
Maynor.
it. This could go all the way.
Maynor.
He's going to go.
47 yards. Maynor, 47 yards on the run.
Again, was in the backfield. Had a chance to drop.
We have to go back to the play before. This was a dive play.
Yeah.
And the play before, I called the same play, and Robert Porcher blew it up. And so I saw Robert Porcher, and it was Mike Artis was the fullback. And so I saw Robert Porcher coming. He come full speed, so I let it go, and he blew Mike up. When Mike came back to the huddle, he said, "Sweet, don't call that play no more." I said, I got you. And I called the exact same play because I knew Porcher was going to come down and knock the snot out of him again. And he did. If you would see, Porcher hit Mike, and I pulled it, and he tried to grab me by my shoulder pads, and I threw his arm off. So I called the exact same play because I knew what he was going to do, and I knew I was going to wind up pulling it, and I did. And then that joker, he was an NFL player, man. He was an All-American, so he almost got me. He reached out after he hit Mike. He reached out at me, and I just knocked his arm off, and then I cut back. And
let's watch it again.
For a loss, here it is. There he is. He spins out of his arms, break back, cross grain, and look, he's off to the races. No one's going to catch him. He's got to be clocked around 4.5, 4.6, 40 as well.
He can run it.
What they clock you at back then, Coach?
4.4, 4.5. I don't know what's wrong with that commentator.
Coach Hayes,
did you see the defenders in the picture?
Hey, Coach, you hear us?
Did you see
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you, Coach.
Yeah, we got you good.
I'm struggling.
No, you're good. You're good. Hey, Mace, turn your camera
You're
on.
really good now.
Yeah. Hey, you sound crystal clear now, Coach. We can.
Well, I've been working on it. I've been in and trying to fix these things. I'm gonna be an expert when I finish with this.
Oh, I hear you. Hey, so look, Coach, you ain't missed too much. We just take a trip down memory lane, and Coach, there goes Mace. Right. So Coach Connell Maynor was saying that he was the fastest quarterback you ever recruited. I think he was. That's what we left off at. Do you have any rebuttal on that? Is that true? Was you, because you had a lot of dual threat quarterbacks that you recruited. Is Connell Maynor the shiftiest quarterback you've ever had?
The shiftiest one without a club foot.
Oh man, that's tough. So, but Coach, for real, what was the archetype that you tried to find when you recruited quarterbacks? What was the recipe that you went after?
I wanted an athlete first. I wanted a guy that could throw the football, but that wasn't the number one qualifications. I think overall athletic skills and leadership ability was the thing that I was looking for first. And then if he could, we were not a big time passing team anyway, because I really wanted to put my resources and expertise in a great offensive line and defensive line, strong running backs. And see, back during my era, most of the high schools didn't have black quarterbacks, so we were limited from the start. Back in the 70s and 80s and the 90s, very few high schools used black quarterbacks, and the longer I stayed in the profession, the more black quarterbacks started being used in the high schools. So we started with an offense that really, we couldn't, in the whole state, it probably wasn't in the 70s and the 80s, it wasn't 5 black quarterbacks in the whole state that could play.
Wow.
So you just think about that. So we couldn't base what we were doing on the quarterback's ability because there wasn't that many quarterbacks. So we had to develop the quarterback once he got on campus. So offensively, we were gonna try to be real strong in our running game, because we could find great running backs and I can make great offensive linemen. That's something we could control. But we couldn't control the fact that the high schools didn't have a lot of black quarterbacks. That makes sense to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So was there ever a point that these guys reached where it might have been an opponent or there's something you saw in a week of practice where you like, you know what, I know I want to control the line of scrimmage, I want to run that football, but Jason Bowles been throwing some dimes in practice. Maseo has been killing the defense. I'm gonna put a game plan in. We're gonna throw the ball across all around the field. Was there ever any opponent like that where you just wanted to air it out?
No question. We installed an offense that was probably 95% passing. And so we went and grabbed Maseo Bolin. He was the best passer during that whole era. So we had a running quarterback, but then we had a guy over there that was a young kid just getting started out that could throw the heck out of the football. And he hadn't mastered the running game. So but he had surely, with God-given ability, had great talent with the passing game. So we put in a passing offense, and we used it at the end of the first quarter, right before the half, the end of the third quarter, and our plan was to use it at the end of quarters. And so we let Maseo do that, and he was outstanding with that part of it. Connell, I will never forget the first time Connell Maynor showed me his talent. We went up Virginia Union. I think we were in A&T's game. And our quarterback hadn't played well, and we put him in there. Man, he lit it up in the fourth quarter in that game. And so the very next game, our third game of the season, we started him. All the coaches looked at me like I was a maniac. I said, "Look, we're gonna start that Maynor kid this week." They said, "What? You mean you're gonna start that little young kid?" Yeah, well, that's who we're gonna start. Well, he's just a freshman. Well, he can play, and I believe he can play. So we went up Virginia Union and started him in that game against Union, and man. The thing that really proved to me what he really was, we ran a dig, like a 14-yard square in across the field, and he hit that dig on the money, which is a hard throw with a 7-step drop. And he threw that dig on the money. I'm saying, whoa, this guy got some special talent. So it was kind of like that. Each one of them had a special quality, some special talents that we saw, some things that we thought we could use to help them win, to help our team win, and all of them had strong leadership qualities. Everybody on the program today was strong leaders and team players all the way. And they put themselves, they really believe, they put the team before they put themselves. Each one of them did. And so that's kind of what I was looking for in a quarterback.
Awesome. Yeah. That's tough, man.
Hey, let me tell you, this is the truth. Coach got a great memory, man, because that was 1987. And we had a dig and a post with 8:26. Everybody in America running. Got a little short cross at 5 yards, and you got the dig at 16. You got the post over the top. That was Coach passing game right there, boys. So practice. You know me, I'm throwing the post. Poof. Coach said, "Listen here, goddammit. You better not throw that post. You better throw that dig in the game." Coach called the play. This is no lie. Coach called the play the game. I said, well, I'm a freshman. I'm throwing the post. I threw that post, man. It almost got picked off. I looked over there that sideline. Coach was fired up. I ain't even go over there. I just put my hand up like I said, I know. I'm sorry, Coach. I'm sorry. So Coach thought I was saying, I got it. I was just telling him, I'm sorry. I put my hands on like this. So he didn't send no play in. So I'm like, so I called the same play, and I threw the dig this time, and we got the first down. And Coach right, though. He right. That's almost 40 years ago, Coach. How do you remember that?
I got a great memory, Connell.
Yeah, that's why I didn't go to that sideline. I remember you told me, you better not come to that sideline, you throw the post. Okay.
Hey, speaking of sidelines, there was that Coach Maynor, you talked about that 91 game against South Carolina State, and at the end of the game, you guys had an opportunity to take a knee, but you and your tight end, y'all decided to do something a little bit different, and you ran a play through a touchdown at the last final minutes of the game against Willie Jeffries, and Coach Hayes was not that happy. He actually pulled you to the side and made you go across the field to apologize. Just tell me about that moment. How you saw it in your head and how it played out.
Oh, I'm telling you exactly how it happened. First of all, that's the same game that you just showed the touchdown. So that was a championship game. And Craig Thompson, our tight end that played in the NFL, had 10 touchdowns on the season. The school record was 11. The single season record was 11. He got 10 his junior year to tie the record. He had 10 his senior year to tie the record again. The single touchdown record was 21. So Craig got 20 touchdowns, tied with the most in a career, and he had 10 tied for a single season. He needed one more to break the single season all-time receiving record. So he bugged me the whole time after we got the lead. Hey, come on, man, check off. I need one more. Check off, throw me a touchdown. I said, I got you, dog. I got you. I wasn't going to do it. We got on the grid on the goal line, and coach called a running play. I turn around, hand the ball off. First of all, they got 11 people on line of scrimmage. And I see him. I'm like, are they blitzing us? Okay, I don't know why. Coach called a running play. I turn around, hand the ball off. Bam! They took the running back, almost broke his legs, come off both edges. And I'm like, what in the world y'all doing? So coach called a play. I tell Craig, they do that again, I'm going to check off. I go to the line of scrimmage. Here they come. They got them all up there. So I faked the dive and threw the dump pass to Craig. And he made a one-hand catch. And that gave him the record, the single season record with 11 touchdowns and the career record with 21. That's the only reason I did it. Okay, so we celebrate. We're trying to run off the field. Coach meets us at the numbers.
Hey. I got it right here, Coach. Hold on.
You go over there and apologize.
The defensive coordinator for the
Let me
Aggies.
show.
Look, you see them, they coming off both edges. Look at them.
Linwood Ferguson.
Yeah, come on.
Gatorade, I like how you make me feel. Touchdown!
To the tight end. Thompson. Craig Thompson with his second touchdown reception of the afternoon.
They've just blown the clock out in the last 3 minutes.
From the 13-yard line.
We're going to general.
I tell you, it's hard to pick an MVP for A&T.
Well,
He
he
said-
said 2 of his players on the South Carolina
Watch
State
this.
sideline. I guess
Craig don't say nothing. Craig don't do no talking. I got to do all the talking. I did it for him, and I got to do all the talking. Look, he don't say a word.
Oh, there you go. You're fine.
Look at him.
I guess he just couldn't help himself.
Oh, man. That's classic.
Action face was wide open. I couldn't resist.
And Jeff understands.
So what did you say to Coach Jeffries? What did you tell him?
I told him, I said, Coach Hayes told me to come over here and tell you that he didn't call that play. So first of all, Coach said, you go over there and you apologize to him because I didn't call that. You go ahead right now. So we went over there. And so when I got over there, I said, Coach Jeffries, Coach Hayes sent me over to tell you that he didn't call that play. I checked it off. He said, why'd you check it off? I said, Coach, the play before you sent everybody to hit my running backs on the leg. I said, but the real reason was Craig needed one more touchdown to break the single season record and the career record. I said, so that's the only reason I did it, Coach. And so he was like, okay. So now we get to the locker room and Coach, we talking about the play and we say, hey, Coach, he tried to run the score up on us last year at home. And Coach like, he sure did. I'm glad you did that. It's too late, bro. You already seen me over on national TV, and that's too late.
Oh,
but when we got to the locker room, he was like, good job. I forgot about that. So that's how that all happened.
That's classic. Hey, Craig, you had a question about being in the doghouse, huh? You want to ask those guys?
Yeah, I was wondering, have any of you guys ever been in Coach Hayes' doghouse? Did any of you guys ever get on his wrong side and get in the doghouse?
So my senior year,
Okay.
I can't remember who we played the week before, but it was somebody we played the week before Morgan. And I remember I went into the coaches meeting and I was pretty ticked off when I was talking to Coach Etter. I think it was a game that we lost, and I just felt like we need to be throwing the ball more. We need to open up throwing the football and not waiting until 3rd and long when everybody in Guilford County knew we were getting ready to throw it, right? And so we're watching film, and I'm literally telling them how I really feel, and I was frustrated. And I noticed the following week, when we went to practice, Al Holland started getting all these reps. And Al was my roommate, and he was a backup quarterback. And so Coach Etter never said a word to me about Al getting reps or any changes coming. I just noticed all these reps that he was getting during the week. So we get up to Morgan, and we're playing, and I start the game out, and I think we're up 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. And then Al played the whole second quarter, and we were down at halftime. And then they put me back in the third quarter, and we finished it out and got the victory. But it came to my attention that I guess Coach Elder went back and told Coach Hayes what I had said. And so I think that was his way of sending me a message. They benched me a little bit during the game to kind of get my attention, but it was a good lesson that I learned. Like, instead of going to Coach Elder, I should have went to Coach Hayes first because he was the one calling the plays. So it's one of those things where even when he's getting me, he's teaching me at the same time.
How about you, Jason? You ever had the rap?
I did not have any guts to challenge nothing Coach Hayes said. So, I'm gonna be in line every time. Don't worry about it.
Man.
Hey, I was in line, man, and it still backfired on me, Jason. We had a rule. We couldn't have no girls in the room, and my roommate was Anthony Parker. And now, if you have a girl in your room, you got to do 500 stadium steps before you can start practice. That was the rule. So Parker girl knocks on the door. We open the door. She got some McDonald's food. She bring the food in, give him his food, and no lie, 30 seconds later, I was like, oh, snap. Who's that? Get in the closet. She got in the closet. Rap Brown opened the door. I'm like, what's up, coach? Where she at? What are you talking about? Where she at? He came in at the closet, Parker girl in the closet. He turned us in the next day. We got to do 500 stadium steps before you could practice. You know what I'm saying? So I think Monday, I did 150. Parker did maybe 100. So Tuesday we go to practice. I probably got like 50 in. I hear the whistle. Hey, get down here. So he let me come down practice because we didn't have no quarterback. Parker was the backup quarterback. I was a starter. We couldn't practice. So coach like, forget that. Hey, Maynor, get out here. So I still had to do some more punishment, but he put me back on the field. But I didn't say a word. It wasn't my girl. She didn't bring me no food. But I'm putting the team first. So I got up there. I started running my stadium steps. I did 150 the first day. And I was on about 50 the second day. And coach was like, hold up, we can't practice. So he brought me out. And so I was in the doghouse, but I ain't do nothing to get in the doghouse.
What is your fault?
I was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And Marshall, you were a true freshman in 2002, coaches last year. So were you just walking on eggshells the whole time?
Man, I heard nothing but stories day and night. So I was no way, shape, form, or fashion about to do anything to set up the dog. No sirree.
Hey, it's hard for a quarterback. It's hard for a quarterback to get in the doghouse because the quarterback has to be an extension of the coach. He has to be a leader. He has to do everything right to get everybody else to follow him because you can't do something bad and then get on somebody else. They gonna be like, man, you was out with us drinking. You was out with us smoking. Or you was late too. So you had to lead by example. So we couldn't really get in the doghouse. You had to walk a straight line. We had to be that coach on the field to reiterate what coach was speaking and saying to get the rest of the players to follow in. And so that's why none of us really we don't really have no true doghouse stories because we was quarterbacks. You know, if you're a quarterback in the doghouse, you probably didn't play for coach.
That's right.
And coach, one thing about you, even when you discipline a player, you always wanted to impute a lesson. Let's talk a little bit about how you always try to share your wisdom, even through some discipline.
Well, I wanted to make sure everybody knew that what we were doing was fair, and that there were no superstars on the team that was above the law, above the rules. So we had a solid rule in place, no matter who it was, whether it was the best player on the team. First of all, we were going to probably be a lot harsher on the better athletes than on the lesser athlete. You can't prove nothing by disciplining a guy that's the number 100 on the roster. You can only get your message across when you go out to the guys that are the outstanding players on the team, that are stars, that are players that you're dependent on. So I'm gonna break him down real soon so that everybody know that. Look, he said, "Damn, if he do him like that, what the hell is he gonna do with me?" So that was kind of the way I thought it needed to be done. I didn't want to take the lesser guys and beat him up and make an example. If I was going to feel sorry for anybody or get cut anybody some slack, it was going to be that guy that barely made the roster. That's who I was going to. But the Connell Maynors of the world, the Maseo Bolins and Jason Bowers of the world, I'm gonna break their plate if they step out of line.
Hey, so now you know why I said I ain't want no parts of that. None. Zero.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, he stick that middle finger up. I'm gonna break your plate. You better watch out, bro.
Hey, Coach Maynor, by the last years, they were talking about him on that golf cart, and Doug will know what I'm talking about. Like, he was spending the whole day at practice riding around on that golf cart. And you know, Coach Real, he was very, very disciplined about making sure you had that shirt tucked in under your practice jersey. And look, he just pull up on the golf cart and start doing that right there. Hey, up, down, let's go. That's it. He ain't say a word. He just pull up, do that right there. Let's get busy.
Yeah. Hey, Doug, you got a question you want to throw at the guys?
Well, you know, first and foremost, man, I just want to thank Coach, man, for providing access. That's what I think I can't let go and notice is that he was able to let me be around these Aggie greats and these superstars. And I call them superstars because for me, you know, my dad didn't believe in professional teams or supporting any other teams. It was A&T or nothing. So these guys really are, you know, my heroes and they're my superstars. And to run around at Coach Hayes' footsteps and kicking gravel around Aggie Stadium up underneath the bleachers, man, that's how I came up. So, you know, some of my earliest memories are watching guys like Connell do his thing and seeing those memories of those championship games, man. I remember traveling and the feeling. That's kind of when I developed, you know, that Aggie pride. And again, Coach Hayes is like a father. So just, you know, he always kind of coached me and mentored me like a father. So when I look on this panel and see my mentors, leaders, you know, brothers, you know, my spiritual leaders, Marshall was a guy that ended up being my roommate, you know, through A&T. So I've seen these guys' journey and know their journey well. And like I said, you know, watching Connell play, you know, he was a guy who was a person I could look to on TV, right? You know, after his playing career at A&T and say, hey, I know that guy. I've seen that guy play. That is a superstar, and show other friends of mine kind of what A&T was about. He always did a good job of representing A&T on a national stage, you know, before the Tariq Cohens of the world. You know, we didn't have all the digital cable and the streaming, but you could turn on ESPN, ESPN2 and see Connell Maynor doing his thing down in Orlando, you know, and so that was special for me as I grew up and developed a love for football. And then, you know, for Maseo to come in again, 91, 92, that's kind of that golden era for me. It's probably my favorite era of Aggie football, and just how we led and seeing those gold hats, man, that was a special era. And to see Maseo come in and do it a different way, right, and sling it around, and some of those historic wins that Coach had, you know, those are memorable wins that just about any Aggie can remember. You know, that started at Blue Def defense and what Maseo and those guys did on offense. And then to move on to, you know, Jason Battle, you know, that's a guy who, you know, he quarterbacked probably what was my favorite year, my favorite team in 1990, right? That is such a historic and memorable year, you know, just across the board. Because I won't say it was unexpected. We knew we had a talented team, but for Jason to come in and add a new kind of component that we hadn't had in a while, it was kind of like a throwback to Connell and what he was able to do on the field. And I mean, if you can remember or have seen clips of Jason Battle playing, man, you're talking about electric, and just it wasn't necessarily off the cut, but could make that off the schedule play, and made the team better just by being out on the field. And I mean, you can turn back to any of those games, and it was just a magical season, man. And to see him lead that team and that team grow, and all of those superstars on that team have success, and him to be that freshman and kind of strut out there and do his thing, man, it was kind of the best of both worlds, kind of the old and the new. And for me,
but look at it. You're talking about off the script. This is Jason Ballard, 99 MEAC championship game.
That was Coach's dream game when he dreamed up how well we were going to do on offense as a unit. As Coach Hayes, he's captured in one of the interviews where he's saying he knew they were going to have to win on offense that game. And you know, Coach, you know, as he said, he likes to run that football. But that was a game when we went out and we passed the football against Billy Joe and that Gulf Coast offense, and we really showed them what A&T was about, man. It was all our superstars made big plays that game, but you know, for Jason to have his signature game and what was probably one of the biggest games ever in Aggie history, and definitely in Aggie Stadium. Those classic shots of Coach Hayes holding up the trophy, chanting "We ready" at the end of that game, man. That was kind of a culmination of a great season. And then to go on to Tennessee State and lay it to them the way we did, and Jason had an outstanding game up there too, man, is really, to cap off that Black National Championship, man, that was just such a magical year. So for me, who was a guy who traveled the road, I was in high school playing football. Jason Battle was probably one of my favorite guys on that team. So for me to go through high school, watch him matriculate through the system, and then him be my quarterback, one of my quarterbacks, my freshman year, it was like being able to play with one of the guys that was a hero to you. So to get to be up close with Jason Battle and him kind of, be a big brother and a mentor, along with him being a comedian, in the locker room. And you talk about being in the quarterback room, and you got the freshman Marshal Glenn that coaches brought in. You got Jason Douglas, who was a transfer quarterback. And anybody else was on the roster, that was a lot for Jason to handle. But he came right in, man, and he threw me my first touchdown pass against Norfolk State, and just was a leader, and showed those flashes of greatness against Central that year. And just all throughout the year, man, Jason still showed that he had what it took to win. It was just for some circumstances that were outside of our control. But man, I'll never not thank Jason for what he provided for me and the mentorship. And again, like with Maseo, man, he's a guy that is still around, right? Like Maseo didn't finish his career at A&T, and you never see him again. He's a guy that's still very visible, still active. Shows you how to walk, on and off the field, as a mentor, as a leader, always has good words to drop on you, and is always fighting for the program, man. So, being able to reach out and still touch my heroes like Maseo Bolin, for me, is very special. And then again, Marshal Glenn is a guy who was in my recruiting class, and by the time Marshall was here, I think I was recruiting him too. Coach Hayes had already sold me on the South, so I'm trying to recruit as many guys as I can to come and play with me. And I remember going in the coach's office and kind of sneaking Marshal Glenn's film away so I could study him and see what he brought to the table. But he was a guy that bought in from the start, man, and was in support of Coach Hayes in his system. Charlotte guy, kind of like Maseo, and they just brought a different level of preparation, I would say, to the quarterback room. And all these guys are leaders, but I think what kind of brings them all together is their competitive spirit, right? That's what I think Coach Hayes saw, and then they all will compete till the sun goes down. I mean, Maceo's out on the golf course now talking about a scorecard, and those guys go back and forth, and Connell's a hell of a golfer. He want to beat you in marbles, right? It's nothing that these guys want you to beat them in. And I knew the moment that Jason Battle, the coach, and all these guys, I think at some point have picked up the whistle, and I think they can attribute that to Coach Hayes. But their mentality, with the headsets on, right? They'll tell you, they learned a lot from how Coach Hayes did it, man. So for me, man, this is nostalgic, man. These guys are my mentors, and again, I thank Coach Hayes for the access, because when I was in high school, middle school, he had me out there laying out the snake, and you could see, him coaching Maseo Bolin. You could see Jason Battle out there. He's making me get in stretch lines and stretch with those guys, and so that way, when it was time to recruit me, it was a natural progression for me to just do what I had been doing. So Coach had his ways, man, to lean on you. I will challenge Coach to say he treated everybody. He didn't treat everybody the same, but he treated everybody fairly, man. And that 100th guy on the roster, Coach would make an example out of him too. He would make an example of him, but he loved his guys, man. He loved his guys, and I got to give a shout out to my man Theron Thomas T-Bone Jr., man, who's fighting right now. But T-Bone's probably the other guy that grew up with me, and saw Coach Hayes behind the scenes. And for me, it was neat to start on one side, to go from a fan to a recruit to a player, and then peek behind the curtain and see how the sausage was made with Coach Hayes and those staff and all my mentors. Man, it's just phenomenal. Thank you, guys.
Yo, to add on to that now, yeah, everybody ain't treated the same. It's fair. Because if you go out there the inside run and you put your hands on Mo Hicks, your practice day is over. don't touch him. Don't get close to him. Let him. Mo Hicks probably scored 1,000 touchdowns in inside run because nobody could touch him. You better not touch him or you going to the hill. Practice over with for the day.
Oh man. So guys, we're gonna try to wrap this up, because I know you guys are all busy and everybody got schedules and stuff, but we just want to come together. And the reason we're doing this is not really, I mean, we have some selfish reasons, because you guys and Coach Hayes have so much still to offer, right? And as fans of A&T football, I can speak for Craig. This is like Christmas for us. just be able to talk to the guys who we saw on the field and on the sideline, and all you guys are like icons in my eyes. I remember all the championships and the good and the bad and all the struggles and triumphs. Let's just go around the horn real quick before we go to our last question. But what start with you, Coach Maynor. What would you say was your, I guess, proudest moment playing for Coach Hayes? Was it a win or something that happened in practice or whatever? What was the thing you felt like you made Coach the proudest?
I don't know. I'm probably say it's probably now I probably made him more proud than when I played for him, because all the life lessons, he had his son Billy on the football team. His wife was always around. And, that's what I took on. My wife, my daughter's now is in Nashville, PA school, but she was always at Winston games. She was always in Hampton. She was always at A&M. She was always around. My wife was always around. We go on road trips. My wife is always here because I know every player is looking up at me like I looked up to Coach Hayes, like all these guys looked up to Coach Hayes. And we want to be just like Coach. So I'm not going to be on the road and have a different girl in my room every night, because then the players can be like, oh, I want to be like Coach Maynor, man, got a different girl in the room every night. No, you're going to see my wife and you're going to see my daughter, and you're going to understand that what being a man is all about. And so I think that's probably what Coach is most proud of me about, not making a football play. He had plenty of quarterbacks and defensive linemen and wide receiver to make plays. That's part of it as being a coach. That's what he puts you on scholarship for, to make a play. So, of course, he's proud when you score a touchdown and he win a football game because he worked so hard. But I think it's now what we're doing now. He see how successful we are, that we listen to him, we watch him, and he mentored us. And that's why we're who we are today. So I think that's probably what made Coach the most proud, because I'm actually following in his footsteps as being a player, a good player, then being a football coach and being a great husband, being a great wife. I mean, nobody said it. I mean, I don't know how long Coach been married. I've been married 28 years, but I know Coach probably been married 50 years. And the same wife in the same house. I mean, he just do things the right way and give you a good example of how to live life and how to do things the right way. And like I said, he's always trying to help somebody else. And somebody's always calling him, asking him for his help. And he's right there for you every time. He's going to do all he can for you. So I think that's his proudest moment.
Yeah. What about you, Marshall?
Oh man, my proudest moment in time, at A&T under Coach Hayes. I was there his last year. The Norfolk State game at home. We were up big. Coach Hayes found me on the sideline. He told me to get ready. He said, "Hey, I'm finna unleash your ass." Oh, shit. And he found me about 2 or 3 times on that sideline. He told me, so you need to get ready. I'm about to put you in the game. So I went back there, found me somebody, kind of warmed up, tried to get myself together. It was, we was up big, the stadium was rocking. So he grabbed me and Jeff Marshman and Frank Thompson, excuse me, Frank Patterson, excuse me, my bad. Frankie P. And dang on told me to go in, run, don't do nothing, run power. Exactly what I did. Had 4 plays. I think I had a play action pass. That was the only thing. I went in. That was the most happiest time of my life. Just being able to go out there. To be in that that stadium that was rocking the field at Aggie Pride. That was a big time for me. Heart was about to jump out my dang on chest. When he came up to me, but he told me, he said, "Hey, I'm finna unleash your ass," and just be able to run on that field, and hear the announcement, call my name or whatnot. That was probably my highlights, with Coach Hayes.
And Jason, you won the HBCU National Championship in 1999, and you have the destination of being the only team in A&T history to win a playoff game, and you upset the #1 team in the country, Tennessee State, at their place. So when you have to choose, what was your proudest moment playing for Coach Hayes? You got a lot of things to look at. What would you pick if you had to pick one?
I would say both as a player. I think both of those games are going to be standout games of beating FAMU at home for the championship, and then being able to go on the road and beat Tennessee State in Titan Stadium. I thought those are two monumental moments as a player. I think I agree with Coach Maynor though. I think he's probably more proud of me now. Being that I'm a coach, I'm a high school coach, but probably even more proud of me because I run the wing T in high school. So it gives us something to talk about every time we see each other because he's still trying to get me to run stuff. I'm like, nah. Hey, they done kind of moved on from that, coach. So I think he's probably just as proud that I'm a high school coach and we do a pretty good job, but I'm able to run the wing T too. So I probably touch his heart with that.
And last but not least, Mace, you've been around Coach a lot on the football field and post football. What would you say the thing that you felt like you made him the most proud?
I would echo a lot of what all the guys said, especially what Connell said around the modeling piece and trying to live our life the right way. But there was one game, there were a number of games that stood out. But I remember in 1994 when we played Southern. It was a huge game at the RCA Dome, 62,000 fans. And we were playing Southern, and Pete Richardson was the head coach at Southern, who was his defensive coordinator at Winston-Salem State.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a very big game for us. And we had a bad week of practice. I remember he called us all in, and he had some things to say. And I remember he and the whole coaching staff left the field. And we just sat out there as a team, and we had like a team meeting. And I remember I was the last guy to leave the field that day. And I said, come hell or high water, no matter what, we're not going to lose this football game to Southern. And so we go out there in the Circle City Classic, and we're playing this back and forth, a tough battle. And I get my John Elway moment where we got the ball with about a minute and 16 seconds, 8 yards to go, and no timeouts. And we're in Queens, and we nickel and dime and go down the field. And I end up hitting Cedric Combo in the back of the end zone with like 30 seconds left to win the game. And that was a huge, huge, huge win for us with everything that was at stake at that moment in our season. So one of the games that I'll probably remember most in my career at A&T.
Definitely. All right. So we're going to wrap this up in a little bit here. Craig, got anything else you want to throw at you guys before we final thoughts?
No, I just want to say thank you to all you guys. It's the A&T Hall of Fame here today, and it's been a pleasure to watch you guys. Saw each and every one of you play from a freshman all the way through, but the things you've done after you've left the football field has just been remarkable. You guys have every reason to be proud of what you've accomplished in your lives, and I know Coach Hayes is, and I know for the A&T fan base, we're just overwhelmed by the success that you guys have had, both individually and as a group, and to continue on doing what you do. And we truly do appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I can't get the camera back, but I'm just so proud of these guys and what they're doing now. And when I think about all the lessons we tried to teach and all the pressure that we put on these guys to be the best as you can be, when I look at what they're doing now, when I look at what they're doing professionally, when I look at what they're doing as good, strong family men, when I look at the way they're raising their kids and the kind of things that they're doing day to day, it makes me really, really proud because, I try my best to be a good role model. I try my best to help other people be the best that they could be. And these guys are proof in the pudding that we did a lot of things right. And so nobody in the world could be any happier than me on my 82nd birthday than to see what these guys are doing and how proud I am of them and how they're living their lives and how they're really, each one of them is an extension of what I tried to do. And I'm just proud of that. Thank you.
Awesome. And so, Coach Connell, why don't you take us home and give us a final thought? This is Bill Hayes Celebration Week. It's the first time we really tried doing something like this. and we might try to do it later on in the week with some defensive guys. I know the Blue Death crew's gonna get mad. We just did all quarterbacks and did give them a chance to show some love to coach. But as far as the quarterbacks, can you just give us a final thought on this whole podcast, this whole show, and this what you think about Coach Hayes?
And tell them Blue Death guys we sell tickets. We put butts in the seat.
That's true.
And tell them that old saying, defense win championships. I ain't never seen no defense score no point.
That's true. Good point.
They don't win no championships neither. But I mean, this is way overdue, and I just want to thank you guys personally for what y'all are doing for Coach and having Bill Hayes Week. And I heard you say you're going to do it every year. It's way overdue, and you need to give people their flowers while they living. And that's what we're doing with Coach. He's a living legend, man. He's in every Hall of Fame that you can name, think of: Central, A&T, Winston, MEAC, CIAA, Black College. I mean, North Carolina. I mean, if I had time, I'd keep on. But he's that dude, man. He's that guy, and he deserves this. And as you can see, none of us had a problem coming on and talk about Coach anytime. You can ask any of his former players that you ask. Nobody's gonna have a problem doing this for Coach because we love him so much. He poured into us, and for us just to be able to thank him, it's enough for me, man. I thank you, Coach. You know how much I love you, man. Again, Coach, Coach called me the other day. Hey, Coach, I just talked to this coach. You need to give him a call. So Coach is still working right now this day for me. And he's just unbelievable human being, man. And this is great what y'all are doing for him because he poured into us and he poured into football. He gave us his all, and this is what he wanted. He wanted to see us be successful, not only on the football field, but off the football field. And so again, thank y'all for having this show. I come back on anytime you want me to. I can come back on it with the receivers because I would do a threat. Maseo, you can't come back. Marshall can come back on. He played running back in battle, but Maseo, you can't come back on. Okay,
I got one catch in A&T history.
You do.
Yeah, he got one reception.
I play some receiver and ring ball, so I can come back on Maseo with the receivers, but you can't come back on. Okay.
Hey,
Now,
listen, I still had.
And look, it's not really my first time meeting, huh? It's really my first time meeting and battle Jason because I've been coaching and playing, so I never been able to get back to A&T games. You know what I'm saying? Because I was always coaching, so it's great to finally meet you guys, and y'all did a great job of representing A&T, playing the quarterback position, and Bill Hayes and your families, and keep up the good work. And I might be able to get there this year. I don't know. If I'm being on the sideline this year, maybe next year. But if I'm not on there this year, I will be back at homecoming, so I get a chance to see everybody for the first time in a long time. But if I get on with somebody before next year, I probably won't be able to make it back to homecoming. So it's great seeing you guys and just being a part of being an Aggie, man. Aggie pride.
Aggie pride.
All right.
Aggie pride.
Was there anything else that we want you to talk about that I might have forgot to ask? Craig and Doug, anything we forgot to mention? We good on everything?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I would just, Samaj, I would just ask because I think you all have always done a good job with your podcast through the year, but he still is dead serious about his foundation and raising money and giving back to those schools.
Okay.
I think it's important to capture that because he's still at 82 years old is working to give money back to colleges, and one of them is A&T. So that might be something to think about too.
All right. Well, look here. If you got anything written, I can, put on the website or the message board. Just email it to me, because we got the whole week. Every day we're going to be just showing throwback videos and the old interview clips, and then we do some trivia on one day. It's gonna be a love fest for 7 days for Bill Hayes, and then, like I say, the defensive guys. I know you're busy, but Coach, we got to find one more day this week where we can steal another hour and a half from you, because I'll be the most hated man in Greensboro if I let this week go by without get some defensive guys to talk to you.
Hey, Shamaz, I'm all in, man. Just let me know.
Hey, Shamaz.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Maseo right, Coach. Winston, A&T, and Central. He gonna give to those schools, man. Listen, I've been to HBCUs, Hampton and A&M. He ain't gave me a dime.
Oh man!
Check in the mail, Connell.
Hey, so let's leave it there on that note. This is the first Bill Hayes Celebration Week podcast. We're gonna try to do another one this week to keep it going. But this is gonna be the first of many. Every year we're gonna do it. First week in June is always the official start of the A&T football season. We're gonna start it with Bill Hayes Celebration Week. So for all you guys joining in, of course, Doug and Doug Brown and Craig Turner, and then our special guest today, Jason Battle, Marshal Glenn, Maseo Bolin, and Coach Connell Maynor, and of course the birthday boy himself, Coach Bill Hayes, living icon. Thank you so much, everybody, for making time to join us, and we're gonna keep this thing going. And until then, for everybody out there, Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.